Well, we've had AAA, AA, and now we'll finish off with a video on the single A ballparks. But that would be too simple, wouldn't it? There is of course a high A and a low A. My guess is that they don't want to hurt the feelings of the low A teams by calling them B grade or something. Anyway, let's just get into it. Rivkin Stadium, home to the Aberdeen Ironbirds. This nice little ballpark, situated in a rather leafy area of Maryland, has its own miniature version of itself, over on the other side of the Marriott Hotel. Not many ballparks can say the same. It's part of a larger baseball complex, as you can see. MCU Park, home to the Brooklyn Cyclones. You may recognize the location. There's a beach, a boardwalk, a roller coaster, a Ferris wheel, a carousel, a tower thing, etc. It is of course Coney Island. The ballpark's design is nothing out of this world, but it looks alright. Those sunshades are in keeping with the amusement park aesthetic, which is a nice touch. Duchess Stadium, home to the Hudson Valley Renegades. In some ways, it's the exact opposite of the last one. It's in a nice location, surrounded by trees, but instead of a view of a beach and an amusement park, you catch a glimpse of a prison, which is, well, like I said, it's the exact opposite of an amusement park. I wonder how many baseballs there are in that forest. First Energy Park, home to the Jersey Shore Blue Claws. That name has a nice ring to it. You do have to feel sorry for the decent folk of Jersey Shore. No matter what, the first thing that people think of when they hear Jersey Shore are these things. Ugh. The ballpark's exterior is quite distinctive with its intricate design and tiled roof. It makes it look like some sort of fancy private school. Daniel S. Frawley Stadium, home to the Wilmington Blue Rocks. Firstly, the stadium is named after a former mayor of Wilmington. Wow, he has a ballpark named after him. He must be the most famous politician from Wilmington.
Give me a break! That's a bunch of malarkey!
I like that blue and coral exterior. Is that coral? I guess we'll just call it pink. Truest Stadium, home to the Winston-Salem Dash. One unique feature of this ballpark is that the parking lot is elevated above the field and offers views inside the stadium. There's plenty of brickwork on the outside, which gives the stadium a hint of a classic look while still looking modern. But the best feature is, of course, that view. McCormick Field, home to the Asheville Tourists. Are they still tourists when playing at home? This ballpark is one of the oldest going round. It's located right next to a football stadium, as you saw, which is right at the base of a pretty big hill. It's a very small and simple stadium, but it's the location that is its greatest asset. Bowling Green Ballpark, home to the Bowling Green Hot Rods. You may have noticed something a little unusual with right field. It actually has to curve inwards to accommodate a pre-existing road, which is a common theme with newer minor league baseball stadiums. A lot of them are crammed into small spaces. I'm not loving the red brick and white exterior, but that is subjective, of course. It looks like a solid ballpark though. First National Bank Field. See, doesn't a green roof look better? And it's appropriate too, because it's home to the Greensboro Grasshoppers. The ballpark itself looks great, and it's a stone's throw from downtown. Although you can't really tell from these pictures, the buildings across the street actually look quite good, and from your seats, they actually look like they're part of the ballpark, in a good way. Fluor Field at the West End, home to the Greenville Drive. Well, that just sounds like the name of a road out in the countryside. But no, it's a team, and they're affiliated with the Boston Red Sox. And as a tribute to their big brothers, they built a ballpark with not just the same dimensions, more or less, but a replica green monster as well, albeit slightly smaller. LP France Stadium, home of the Hickory Crawdads. Hickory Dickory Dock, crawdads are a medium-sized crustacean that live under a rock. Now you know. Hickory is a good city name for a baseball team, not as good as Asheville that we had earlier, but some people prefer Hickory still. It's a pretty little ballpark. I like how they've kept this section open for a bit of airflow. State Mutual Stadium, home to the Rome Braves. Well, it's normally a good thing to be situated near a body of water, but I don't know, that looks like it would smell funny. The stadium itself is perfectly fine, but I definitely think there was a missed opportunity. Being based in Rome, they could have had a Colosseum-inspired exterior. Oh well. Veterans Memorial Stadium, home to the Cedar Rapids Colonels. The ballpark was built right next to the site of the old Veterans Memorial Stadium, which was built in 1949. The new stadium is a tale of two ballparks. The exterior is a big wall of beige, which is a little dull, but it's contrasted by the bright red seats of the interior. Overall, not bad. Parkview Field, home of the Fort Wayne Tin Caps. You know what I said earlier about the red bricks and the white? Well, I changed my mind. This looks alright. It's a highly praised stadium, and for good reason. It's got great curb appeal with this grand entrance, and a pretty good view of the city. I also like this little section of seating attached to the parking garage. Dow Diamond, home to the Great Lakes Loons. It's both named after and situated next to the Dow chemical manufacturing plant, who financed most of the construction. And you can see the plant from your seats. Some people might think that's a bit of an eyesore, but I quite like it. A view of anything industrial like that looks pretty cool to me. Other than that, it's a great little ballpark. Classic Park, home to the Lake County Captains. The name is a little bit deceiving. Classic is actually a chain of automotive dealerships. It's kind of like Great American Ballpark, where if you didn't know that Great American was an insurance company, you'd think that the Reds were just bragging about their ballpark. And it's the same with this. The exterior is a little boring, but the interior makes up for it. Jackson Field, home to the Lansing Lugnuts. About Lugnuts, I mean, people say that Brazil nuts taste bad, but lug nuts are way worse. Just awful, the taste and texture. The most unique feature of this ballpark would have to be the apartment buildings in the outfield. Speaking of the outfield, what an odd shape it is. But the perfectly symmetrical exterior looks fantastic. Dozer Park, home to the Peoria Chiefs. A weird situation with the naming rights once again. They were bought by Caterpillar, the heavy machinery company that's located right next door, but they just went with the generic name Dozer Park. Doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, but that's not important. It's a fairly simple ballpark with a nice view of the modest Peoria city skyline. Modern Woodman Park, home to the Quad Cities River Bandits. Despite the name, Modern Woodman Park is actually more of a classic style ballpark and made from brick, not wood. Obviously the location is the ballpark's best asset, but having a Ferris wheel isn't too bad either. I wonder if anyone has caught a home run while riding it. Oh, and another tidbit, before this berm was built, the field would quite often flood, unsurprisingly. Four Winds Field at Kovleski Stadium, home to the South Bend Cubs. This ballpark looks both old and new at the same time. It has a similar layout to the newer stadiums, but the roof in particular looks very old school. Nearby you have a former synagogue that is now a gift shop, and right across the road there is Union Station. I like this one. LMCU Ballpark, home to the West Michigan Whitecaps. A nice location by the river, a good looking exterior and a decent interior, mini golf and go-karts nearby, and apparently the place makes a delicious burger, the size of a small dog. I'm pretty sure this ballpark ticks all the boxes. It was even featured in Anchorman 2. Day Air Ballpark, home to the Dayton Dragons. You're looking at the stadium that holds the record for the longest sellout streak in professional sports, at a little under 1,400 consecutive sellouts. And it's not a tiny stadium, relatively speaking, it's one of the only double-tiered stadiums in high A baseball. The scoreboard looks incredible as well. ABC Supply Stadium, home of the Beloy Snappers. This ballpark is currently under construction and should be completed soon. It's located right by the Rock River and overshadowed by a water tower. It looks like a nice stadium. However, the field will be artificial turf, which may not be everybody's cup of tea. Neuroscience Group Field at Fox City Stadium, home to the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. It's good to see another team that's been a little different and gone for a burgundy colour scheme to match their uniform, rather than the typical green or neutral colour scheme. And it's situated in what seems to be a nice leafy area. I quite like this one. PK Park, that's better, a nice short and sweet name. It's home to the Eugene Emeralds and shared with the University of Oregon Ducks. As you may have noticed, Autzen Stadium is in the background. It's a very simple park, but the front entrance looks very sleek and modern compared to a lot of the other ballparks. And I thought the last one was close to a football stadium. Funko Field, home to the Everett Aquasox. Now, I don't want to call the stadium bad, because it's not really, but it appears to be the worst one so far. No, even that's a bit harsh. Let's just say it's the least good. And that's nothing against the Aquasox, sorry. I mean, well, you can just judge for yourself. It doesn't have much going for it. I guess in the West, you have to have a football stadium nearby. Tonkin Field, home to the Hillsboro Hops. I like the name of the team and the stadium. Tonkin. It's kinda like rootin' tootin'. Not really. It will also be hosting the Vancouver Canadians in 2021. I like the overall aesthetic of this stadium. It's quite modern and there's a lot of metal going on. It does have an artificial turf field though, unfortunately. A Vista Stadium, home to the Spokane Indians. Doesn't real grass just look so much better? It's quite a colourful looking stadium, which is good, but it's called a Vista Stadium. Does it have a vista? And is it a Buena Vista? Well, I guess. You got the hills, the train tracks. Yeah, not a bad vista. Gesser Stadium. I guess that's how you say it. Home to the Tri-City Dust Devils. Why do all the houses around here look exactly the same? Situated among a plethora of sports fields is this very simple stadium. I don't really know what to say about this one. Well, they built that big thing there to keep the sun out of people's eyes, so there's that. There's a lot of grass around the stadium. For all you grass fans, yeah, I appear to have run out of words. Not to worry, because those were all of the high A baseball stadiums. If you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching, have a good one.